Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead The Ones Who Live video. So, I want to talk about a scene that was featured in the teaser trailer that a lot of people are messaging me about. Like, I think every single comment, or not everyone, but literally most of the comments on the trailer breakdown video that I did are referencing this. Like, they're referencing the fact that, oh, Rick lost his hand. Rick is not missing his hand. And I know in that video, I didn't acknowledge it. And it's because I didn't notice it right away. While I was editing, I was like sort of putting it together and I looked, I was like, wait, that's not his hand. Like, where did his hand go? So that's why I added the little tag on there saying, like, I know he lost his hand, but I'll do a video coming up right away. So I want to talk about this idea because obviously this is something that we've been talking about for a long time, like many years. Like, will Rick ever lose his hand? Like he does in the comic, and there was a lot of hints going back to even season 9, or stuff in season 8 where it seemed like he could, and it seems like right now there's a pretty strong possibility that he's going to. So I want to talk about that here in this video. So before going any further, make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all of my Walking Dead content like this. And if you haven't subscribed to the Empty Minds podcast yet, definitely go do so. It's my podcast that I do release every single week. And yeah, new episodes come out every single Monday. I'll leave a link in the description of this video. Definitely go subscribe. We're at like close to 200 subs or something like that. So I think we're trying to get to 1,000 subs. That's sort of our next goal. And yeah, it would just be really awesome if we could hit that soon. The goal in my head is to like hit it before the end of the year. I think that'd be really awesome. But yeah, so I hope to see you guys there. But let's talk about this here. So yeah, The Ones Who Live. Obviously, the teaser trailer in the very beginning, we do see like one of the first shots that we see that's like new footage is of Rick fighting this walker. And when you look at this shot here of him, first of all, he's in a CRM jacket. The shot is like nighttime, kind of. It's like a night shot. It's a very weird shot. And that's why I want to get into an idea with this right away. But we see Rick, and obviously his left hand is gone here. Like it's not even here. Like it's a prosthetic hand. And it's like something that in terms of an actual like reveal of anything with Rick is actually pretty massive. And I can't believe in my teaser trailer video, I didn't even mention it. Like, I referenced everything else. I literally referenced every single thing about this. I went into like the quality. I dissected everything so much, but like I literally left out like the biggest detail, and it's honestly insane. So, I mean, obviously Rick here, he has a prosthetic hand. So does he lose his hand in the show? Obviously, seeing this, you're going to say, yeah, he does. I actually think that this could be a dream sequence. That's kind of my idea right now, is that this is actually a dream sequence, and it has to do a lot with just the walkers here in this scene. So the reason why this is something that is very noteworthy is because in the comic, Rick actually loses his hand. And what happens is he gets into this crazy fight with the governor, and then the governor just cuts off his hand. And the insane thing about it is it actually happens very early on. Like it's kind of crazy to think, like most of the Walking Dead series, like literally almost all of it, Rick doesn't have his hand. I don't remember what issue it is. It's 20 or 30 something. It's issued like around there, issue 20, 30 something. He loses his hand at that point by the governor, and that's it. Like he literally has no hand. And eventually, obviously, he gets a prosthetic and all that. So like he does have that eventually, but yeah, literally for so long, he didn't have that. And I mean, it was just one of those things about the character. It was like a really traumatic thing that he went through. And honestly, it was one of the biggest things that the character went through. And obviously on the show, people talked about that a lot. Like, was Rick going to lose his hand against the governor? Then every single time, whenever they revealed something in terms of a new villain or anything, it was always like, is Rick going to lose his hand? This has been a thing with the character for many years. But like when they went into the Negan arc at first, when we first saw him, and then premiere for season 7, a lot of people wondered, like, was Rick going to lose his arm there? Obviously, this sort of teased that Carl could have. So maybe that was a little nod to that moment. In season 9, it came back up again. There's been, honestly, I feel like every season it sort of came back up. But I know in season 9, Aaron lost his arm, and so he got a prosthetic, and he looked like Rick Grimes from the comic at that point anyways. But this has been a thing with the character for a very long time. And it's a really cool thing to think about. Like, it's a really cool thing about a character, like, to have went through that, and the prosthetic he had and all that. It was just, I don't know, to me, if this is legit and it's not a dream, it's very cool. It's such a cool reference to the comic, and I feel like it just adds so much to Rick Grimes as a character. And again, just in general, it's a very cool scene. But when you're actually looking at it here, the reason why I think this is a dream sequence is it's not just because of why would you reveal something like this immediately. It's kind of because of like the background too. Like it just seems a little weird if you're looking around in the back. Like there's red lights here. I mean, I guess it could make sense with the story. Like why is Rick out here? I mean, there's a lot of details that we don't know. So again, still could make sense, but he's fighting these walkers that are like molten walkers. And if you're actually looking at them, and again, it just seems like the area that he's in at this point here isn't real. Like it really feels like at this point, he's having a bad dream about this, because there's also this walker right here that looks like this like molten lava zombie. And this zombie almost reminds me of a variant walker, because it's wearing like this cloak type thing, and then it just like takes it off, like it's throwing it off, and then it runs at Rick. So unless the Rick show is getting into variant walkers, which I don't think it's going to be, I think this is a dream sequence, and I think he's having a dream about a zombie on fire like this, basically, and he's having a hard time killing them, or something's happening, and I think all of this in general is just not real. And so I don't know, that's sort of my like idea on it right now. Like, it's possible he does lose his hand. It's kind of insane to me to think that maybe he does. Like, the one thing I will point out, though, that sort of supports the evidence that he does actually lose his hand is the fact that in the trailer here, like literally in every single shot that Rick is in, his left hand is not seen at all. Literally, his left hand is like on the ground. Like, if anything, maybe there's this one shot right here. Like, it looks like he's holding the phone here of Michonne. This could be a flashback, so maybe this is something that happens beforehand. This shot right here, I've seen some people referencing this. This is a different phone from the phone that he put in that bag and then Michonne eventually found. This is a different phone. So I imagine he's finding a lot of these phones and sort of just like, you know, engraving a picture of Michonne or Michonne and Judith on it and just sort of throwing it everywhere so that eventually maybe Michonne will find it, kind of thing, right? And yeah, but anyways, actually, now that I'm looking at it, he's holding it with his right hand. It's not his left hand at all. So I'm totally wrong on that. So I don't know, like, I'm looking at the trailer and it really is starting to feel like maybe this isn't a dream sequence. Like, maybe he does actually lose his left arm, or left hand at least. Like, it would be kind of insane, but like literally when you're looking at all the footage here, there's not a single thing here that is showing that he has his hand. Like, there's the silhouette shots, I guess, that shows that he does have his hand. But like, literally in every single shot, he doesn't have his hand. Like, or at least his left hand isn't showing. So that could have been cleverly done in terms of, you know, just for the trailer anyways, because they might have wanted to like put that in here where people would guess sort of, you know, like what is happening here, especially when you get a shot like this of Rick and he's like obviously just super tired or whatever, but his left arm is literally down. So it almost like, to me, it almost feels like if he did have a prosthetic arm, he would just kind of have it down like that too. So it's almost just supporting the idea even more. Like, maybe he has actually lost his left hand. Like, it would be kind of insane to think about, because again, this is something that we've been wanting for a very long time. Well, I don't know if people want it necessarily. Like, it is something that people have been talking about for a while. For me, would I want it? Yes or no? I would say I guess so. Like, I think it would be kind of cool. Like, I think we have enough stuff of Rick with his hand that it's like, you might as well do something like this at this point. And I think it would make the character a little bit more exciting. There could have been a lot of trauma and things that have happened. I think it's very possible. And this is what I'm just going to throw out there right now. It's kind of a theory that I think makes a lot of sense, but in that shot where we do see Rick in the very final episode, when he throws the bag into the boat or whatever, and he gets caught by the CRM, I think what happens afterwards is he is taken into the CRM and Major General Beale cuts off his hand. And so that is what happens here. Because I'm trying to think of a way to make the villain really terrifying. And a way to do that is by cutting off Rick's hand. Because when I look at the comic, the one thing about the comic that made every villain so terrifying is you did like this really crazy epic death scene. And on the show, obviously there is those big moments and it's sort of the same thing, but it really was that, right? Like, when the governor cut off Rick's hand, it was insane. It was such a shocking moment to come across a villain that would do something like that. And then later on with Negan, obviously, and Glenn's death, and then later on with the Whisperers and the Whisperer Pike scene, there's these really crazy moments where you can really make these villains really stand out. And I think it's possible that because the governor never did it in season 3 or 4 of The Walking Dead, that The Walking Dead: The Ones Who Live, the big villain, Major General Beale, would punish Rick for leaving, for trying to escape, and cut off his left hand. Like, it's kind of insane to think about, but obviously, I mean, it's been some time. He's been there for a very long time, and I kind of think it makes a lot of sense. Like, Major General Beale may be the one that's responsible. So, I mean, really insane trailer overall, definitely. Like, there's so much here to talk about. There's so many things I still want to, like, break down in terms of some of the theories I have in general about just where the story is, because it's kind of interesting. Like, there's a lot of like these like little teases at certain things, or they'll hint at this or that, but when you're kind of looking at this, I'd say overall, it's hard to gather a story. Like, we know kind of what the story is. The story basically is Rick and Michonne are trying to find each other, but there's going to be more to it than that. There's going to be an actual story to this because he's at the CRM. There's Major General Beale. There's a lot of other characters there that are going to play a role in the story here. Rick and Michonne are going to reunite in this season or in the story if it's only 6 episodes. Something else happens. There's a whole other narrative here in terms of why Rick is trying to escape, or not why, obviously we know why, but in terms of how and why he can't. And that's what I'm very excited about. And I think that's where the trailer for this show is going to reveal a lot of stuff. And again, the trailer for this show is likely going to be dropping next month. I think at this rate, I really would expect that because I'm trying to think of when. Could they reveal it at the final episode or after the final episode of Daryl Dixon? I don't think so. That's a little too soon. We just got this. That would mean revealing the trailer in 3 days. I just don't see that. So at the end of Fear the Walking Dead, which is end of November, before the Christmas break, I can so see that. Because the thing about the Ones Who Live and just The Walking Dead in general is they always have shows ending at the end of November and then premiering in February. This year, obviously, there was an exception because The Walking Dead ended. I think they just gave it time to breathe because, I mean, obviously, there was just like the main show ended. So just like, you know, kind of let things relax a little bit and then we'll like reboot it back up kind of thing, right? And I think that's why it's going to be different here. So if this show is coming out, say, February like 18th or something like that, and Fear the Walking Dead ends like November 25th or 28th or something at the end of November there, that would mean it's like 2.5 months around there until this show premieres. I think we're going to get an official trailer. Like we got an official trailer for Daryl Dixon about a month and a half beforehand. Again, they could release a trailer for this in December. I just don't see them ever doing it. That's why I'm saying it's going to be the end of November because they never really release trailers or promote stuff at all for anything Walking Dead related around Christmas time. It's like as soon as it's December, there could be announcements here and there, but it's usually very, very quiet. So I think there's going to be a trailer after Fear the Walking Dead because that show is ending. The next thing that they sort of have to promote is this show. So I think they're going to promote this show a lot. And then obviously in January, as soon as like it turns into 2024, a lot of like that last little bit of January and then going into February is going to be all about promoting this. There's going to be new trailers, probably a second or a third trailer or something like that. A lot of footage, just a lot of stuff, some cast interviews, and there's going to be a lot of promotion for this show because it's going to be so hyped. Like, I mean, crazy hyped. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if there is going to be a Super Bowl ad. I feel like that could be a part of its release as well. Like at the Super Bowl, release this crazy teaser or sneak peek or something for this show because this show is going to get people watching. And then a week later or whatever, have the show premiere kind of thing, right? So I'm definitely very excited. Again, there's so much here to talk about with the show. The show is just, after seeing this here, I'm just so excited to be talking about every episode. I can't wait for the show to be airing. I wish it was February already, where we can be talking about the show, each episode, discussing like the trailers and theories and everything like that. So yeah, anyways, I'm gonna leave it here though. Definitely post your thoughts down below. Do you think Rick Grimes loses his left hand? Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.